good morning, and good morning. Thank you for joining me on another incredible show of Read Me Live. I've had so much fun doing this show, and guess what? Today is no different because when I bring on the experts, then I have the ability to not only help teach the world about spirituality, but I get to learn as well. And today's guest, she has a lot of information that we want to share. So please join me in welcoming Miss Kristine Genovese. Good morning, Kristine. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm thrilled that you're going to do a reading for me today.
I'm excited to be here with you because we kept changing it. And what's so beautiful about change is that I always feel that when it's meant to happen, it will happen. You know, people always like, oh my God, I got to rush and I might be. No. When it's time, it will happen. So, for people who don't know about you, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about who you are and what you do, Christine.
Sure. Well, with a last name like Genovese, right? I'm known as a spiritual gangster, but I come by that honestly. My
Okay.
great uncle Vito was
Uncle
the
B.
Vito Genovese from New York City,
Okay.
originally, obviously from Italy, but it today happens to be, talk about auspicious, my great grandmother Vita's birthday. That was Vito's sister.
Oh, happy
So it's kind of,
birthday.
I know, who knows? Maybe she'll come through and have a message for us later. We'll see.
I would love that.
But I am also the creator of the Soul Intelligence Method, which
Okay.
is a bioenergetic healing method that helps bring trauma up from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind so it can be released in a very painless way.
Mhm.
I'm also the author of Healing Through Soul Intelligence, which is my book that's an LA Tribune bestseller. It's also voted Book of the Year 2025 by Best Holistic Life magazine, which is super cool honor as well. So I'm really proud of that. And I have it available on Amazon and Audible. And I do sessions for people. And what I'm so called to do is to teach other healers my method.
Okay, well, that's a lot. So I just want to break it down for people who are watching and people who are listening. Congratulations on the book. Congratulations on it being a bestseller. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I want to talk about your method, right?
Hey.
And I I've been podcasting since 2009 in some form or fashion. I've been here and I've spoken to some of the top industry leaders in many different fields. And when we talk about trauma, there seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, two mindsets, right? Where there's a mindset that says basically you can deal with the trauma in one session. You can release it, deal with it, it's gone. Now, then there is other mindset that says that you need a session or 3 sessions a week for the rest of your life in order to be able to deal with this trauma. And then I guess there are some people who are in between. What is your take, Christine, and your method?
Well, I would say it all depends. It depends on what we're clearing and
Okay.
what's going on with somebody.
Okay.
And so I would say that would be my answer to that question. But more specifically, when I describe my method, I talk to people like, you go to a chiropractor and you get a biomechanical adjustment, right?
Right.
You come to me for a bioenergetic adjustment,
Okay.
right? We're going to move that energy out that's causing the spine to kick out, right?
Okay.
And so they work together. And I actually work in the field of functional medicine or integrated medicine with naturopathic doctors who try and heal the body healthy, holistically, using nutraceuticals rather
Mhm.
than pharmaceuticals, right? Only using pharmaceuticals if it's absolutely necessary, and then trying to get people to heal naturally using those wonderful products. So when I do the work, it really depends. Like, what is this person dealing with? How long have they been dealing with it? Right. So
Mhm.
kind of like a functional medicine doctor would do, an intake. I'm trying to understand what's been going on and what it's going to take to shift it. And it depends on how a person feels.
Mhm.
Right. I clear myself every week because I'm always moving energy. As a healer, we're very conscious about our energy. And since we're, everybody and everything is energy, we're energetic beings. We're constantly having energy come into our field just by being around people, right?
Mhm.
Being around others. So I think it's just a matter of being aware of your energy and what you know you need to do to
Mhm.
keep yourself healthy. and functioning.
Oh wow, I love that answer. You can always tell when people know what they're talking about by the answers they give. Sometimes I just ask questions just to see what the response is. So when you say you clear your energy, what
Mhm.
type of modality or how do you clear your energy?
So there's lots of different ways, but when I use my method on me on a weekly
Okay.
basis for starters. So my method is a book of charts and a pendulum that gets really specific, so I can figure out, is this mine? Was this somebody else's? Where what needs to shift? So whether it's
Mhm.
negative energies, emotions, thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, an old pattern that's come up for healing, an old archetype or role we play in our lives. Is there a situation that impacted me that I'm carrying around? So it gets pretty specific.
Mhm.
Another way I clear my energy, right, is I love nature. I love going out and reconnecting either with my feet on the earth.
Mhm.
I'm very fortunate. I live in Florida and
Mhm.
I've been gone for about 10 days. And I literally just got back this morning. So I'm so happy to be back in Florida. But I'm about 2 miles from the beach. So
Okay.
I get a chance, at the end of the day to really kind of ground and put my feet in the sand and
Mhm.
listen to the water. And that really gets me back into a natural rhythm as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. Being here in Southern California, I understand I have to be close to the beach. I have to be close to the water. I'll go to the beach and meditate. And it's just something about that breeze and the air and the ions in the air that just bring you back to who you're meant to be. I want
Mm,
to say salam and good morning to League TV. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you. Now, I want to talk about when you say when you clear yourself every week,
mhm.
do you clear based on a regular time frame or do you feel like, oh, something's a little bit off, I need to clear? Like what leads you to that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I
Mhm.
really pay attention to my physical body
Okay.
because I feel like our physical body is really a barometer to the subconscious mind, what's really going on, right? A lot
Okay.
of people have read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I have several books on my shelf that I use that get to the root cause of dis-ease or
Mhm.
dysfunction or dissonance in the frequency that
Mhm.
tells you what's going on
Mhm.
in the body, right? What's
Mhm.
causing the disease or the dysfunction in the first place. So for example, this week, I had like a kink on the right side of my neck.
Mhm.
I'm like, ugh. So, right side of the body is male. The
Okay.
kink in the neck, right, is me being inflexible or someone being inflexible with me. And so I knew that my male partner was being a pain in my neck, literally, right? Okay. So I wanted to figure out what needed to shift around that. Sometimes when lower force energy in particular, I
Mhm.
feel energy. That's my first sen is clairsentient. So I'm going to
Mhm.
notice something is off. Like, you walk into a room and you just feel really uncomfortable, kind of like
Yes.
that feeling. That's what I get in my stomach. And I sometimes my stomach will bloat and then
Okay.
I'm like, I got to clear myself. I picked some up. And it typically hits you in the stomach because that's our solar plexus chakra, the third chakra. And
Mhm.
that's all about relationships, how you feel about yourself, your self esteem, how you interact with others. And it's really fascinating to me how most people that are struggling with a chronic condition,
Mhm.
and most of our functional medicine doctors who treat those conditions start with the gut. They start with the stomach because that's where the stomach, not only does it hold food and process food, it also
Mhm.
holds emotions and processes emotions, or they don't, right? And we
Yeah.
stuff it and then it goes to the weakest point in the body. So that's really why I think my stomach is always like, hey, and like if you're going to do something you're really nervous about, right? You get butterflies in the stomach. It's like the
Right.
first place. It's like our main energy center where I think we sense energy most of the time.
Oh wow, that is so beautiful that you notice that in the way you explain it. I don't think I've ever had it explained that way. But I made a post about maybe 2 weeks ago on social media, and I know it's our diets in America, the foods we eat, that kind
Mm,
of thing. But I literally had about 5 different people say that they have cancer, right?
mm,
And
mhm,
one of the things that really made me emotional and made me make the post is it was one person in particular that was very close to me, a high school friend, a friend of a friend. But I was doing Read Me Live. I had a guest on the show, and we were talking, and he was talking about his career and what he does and how he wants to help people. And then he says, I guess I'm just feeling a little tired today. I came back from chemotherapy. I have cancer. And he's like, wait a minute, I didn't even mean to announce that. Nobody even
Mm.
knows. My family doesn't know. He was like, it just came out. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. But it was just very emotional because it just seems that so much illness in the world. What are your thoughts? I guess I have to phrase the question. What do you see, or do you feel that any dis-ease within the body can be healed or cured?
Absolutely. I think if you give the body what it needs, it can heal itself, right?
Mhm,
Because everybody and everything is energy. Like if we go back to, elementary school, we're all protons, neutrons, electrons in this electromagnetic field. But I think we
mhm,
forget that we're energetic beings,
mhm,
right? Because we're physical, we're corporal, we're vibrating so slowly, it's dense, right? We
mhm,
don't see the vibration. But when I explain to people, look, the sessions and the work that I do is always over Zoom. Well, how do you
mhm,
think that happens? It's an energy transfer and it's being received either by your laptop or your phone. Think about
mhm,
all the stuff we stream, right? Or even just music, we hear it and it comes in. It's all energy, frequency, vibration. And
mhm,
that's what we are too. So when we have cancer, that means our cells have mutated, right?
mhm,
They're not healthy cells, they're not vibrating in a healthy manner. Um, so I'll give you a quick example of me. I had a cervical cancer scare at one
oh,
time.
wow.
Before becoming the spiritual gangster, I was a corporate turnaround specialist. So
Okay.
I would go out and figure out what companies, what they needed to do in order to achieve their goals, whether it's people, process, technology, whatever it was, to streamline the business so they could, sell or, continue to be profitable or whatever those things were.
Mhm,
And I grew up at a time where, um, you know, you hit your head on the glass ceiling. So women
mhm,
had to work twice as hard to get paid equally as men.
right.
Right. And so um, I took on very masculine qualities.
Mhm,
Okay. I made sure I was up on the latest sports. I knew all the statistics. I made fun of people who were emotional at work. And, I used crass language so I would fit in and, all of those things. And I did it for such a long period of time that I stuffed all of that feminine energy down
mhm,
and I went and had an abnormal pap smear. And then
mhm,
they did an in office procedure and said, there's too many mutated cells. We're going to have to do a conical biopsy. You're going to have to go to the hospital and we're going to have to put you under and we're going to have to do a biopsy there. I was like, what? Biopsy? What? I have what? So um, at that point, I went to a whole bunch of healers.
mhm,
I knew a method that used a book of charts and pendulum that I used on myself. It's not my method and what it is today, but similar kind of concept.
mhm,
I went to healers. I went to psychics. I went
mhm.
to, I had one lady say to me, well, you're just not in touch with your divine feminine. I'm like, well, what the heck does that mean? Right.
Right.
At the time, like now people I think understand embracing your masculine and feminine sides, but at the time I was like, what? Do I have to grow my hair long? Do I have to wear dresses? Do I need to dance? What's going on? What do you mean? And then I met with someone else who said, um, by the time you go in for that procedure, it's going to be gone. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I started to see, I did my daily meditations. I started to see my cells vibrating healthy.
Oh, wow.
And I started to read about divine feminine, like incredible goddesses like Isis and Sekhmet and all these cool Egyptian women that were like amazing and like Joan of Arc. Like there's so many strong females, right?
Mhm,
And so I started to get the idea, oh, I, totally suppressed who I am as a woman.
mhm,
And so by the time I went for that conical biopsy, I got to tell you, I have never forgotten my OBGYN's face when she came out and said to me, we must have cut it all out because
mm.
it's gone. I'm like, yeah, we must have.
Yes.
Was it that? Was it, I think it's all of it. It all
Right.
works together, right? You have to change your mind, your emotions, your beliefs, and then the body will respond, right? Because
Mhm,
that's the most dense part of us. So that's what changes last. So do I believe you can? Abso-freaking-lutely, I believe you can.
mhm. That's so beautiful. It just always reminds me of, And I was when I was looking at all these different people who were sick and who were ill, and I started to listen to another speaker, and he was talking about the ability to heal. And the question came up on whether or not healers have the ability to heal. And the response was, it's not about the healer healing the person, it's about the person accepting the healing and creating an environment for that person to heal. Because they
Mhm.
were saying, even Jesus said that it's your faith that has made you heal, it's your faith that has healed you. It is the faith. And I was telling a friend of mine, we were having this whole discussion on someone else who, when I did her reading, the reading clearly said, you need help. You need help. You need help in what you're doing. This is in regards to her business, not her health. But she actually has cancer, though, by the way. So I
Mm.
think that's the sixth person. And it was saying that you need help. So we had someone who volunteered to help her. I said, because it's saying, teamwork makes the dream work, and that you have to work together as a community in order to get what you need done. And so he volunteered to help, and we did this group introduction. And over time, we kept saying, here's help, we'll help, what do you need? And she was like, um I'm too tired today, let's talk Wednesday. So Wednesday comes, I'm just so tired. And then
Mm.
finally I had to point out to him, or in the sidebar, I said, do you see the pattern? Do you see what it is
Mhm.
that she won't accept the help? Because if she accepts the help, then she has to admit, she loses this ability to say, I'm tired and I'm sick, and play the victim. So it was a great real world example of healing, or the lack of healing in action. Do you ever work with people with that same kind of, I want to call it gently, the victim mentality,
Oh,
where
yeah.
no matter what you do, like, they're like, but you can't heal me, you're not healing me, it's not working.
Well, I think, people are drawn to certain people, right? And
Mhm,
I think they get to a point where they're ready to help. And I'm sure your experience is similar to mine,
mhm,
healer, heal thyself. We have to go through it first before we can really help other people, right?
mhm,
So when I talk about consciousness, I talk about everybody starts out at the victim, villain, hero level, right?
mhm.
So the story, the he said, the she said, the drama. And then the
Right.
next level, I think we graduate to is recognizing that this is life university and that actually everything is happening for us and supporting us. And so like learning the lessons that we need to learn, and you kind of get perspective and go, oh yeah, I can see why that person is such a pain in the neck in my life. That's what they're trying to teach me about me. Oh,
Mhm,
it's about self-abandonment, how I'm
mhm,
always sacrificing myself for other people. I get it. And then the next level is life is happening through me. And
mhm,
that, I believe, is what happens when we are doing the healing work. We feel the divine presence come through us that we're
mhm,
sharing, right? We're in that higher theta state. And then the last one is life is happening as me. And those are those few fleeting moments, maybe when we're in the water, in the ocean, and we just kind of feel like we're a part of it. We really feel connected to everybody and everything. But then the second you pull out into traffic, you're back down at the bottom. So you can't live there, but it's nice. It's nice to spend a little time there. But, the truth is, people have to want to heal themselves.
mhm,
Um, I was married to someone who refused to heal himself,
mhm.
and the disparity between our frequencies just became too great to where
Right.
I couldn't be around that person anymore because they chose to live and still do, unfortunately, in that victimhood. And I
Mhm,
know our bodies are amazing machines and they are built to heal themselves. We have to give it the right support. So, to your point about cancer, a lot of that has to do with our immune system, right?
mhm,
Our immune system is too low to fight the cancer cells, to fight the mutated cells, or to get those mutated cells to vibrate healthy anymore.
mhm.
And so there's a lot of things that we do, right? Traditional intervention is to destroy them, right?
Right.
There's other ways to also support the immune system so the body can actually expel those cells as well, too. We're
Mhm,
even using vibration now to get cancer cells to either leave the body or vibrate in a healthy manner. Vibration, like it's amazing to me. But cancer, remember, it comes in when the immune system is not able to support it. Because believe it or not, everyone has cancer cells in their body today. We
oh,
can't
wow.
get away from the toxicity. It's just a matter of will they bloom? And will they form a mass that has to be dealt with?
Mhm.
So it's just kind of fascinating. So the more you can keep your immune system up and keep your body functioning well, it gets rid of all of that stuff. To your point about what we put in our body, we got to watch that too. But
Yes.
when we see what things cause dis-ease in the body, it's toxicity. The biggest one is stress, right?
Yes.
Stress. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Poor nutrition. So, if we're packing in fast food, that's not a good thing. If it doesn't, walk the earth or grow in the ground, right? Fly, swim, something like that, we should probably be eating it. And lack of movement, believe it or not, is another one.
Yes.
Like sitting's become the new smoking.
Yes.
And the last one is genetics, and genetics are only about 5%. So
Mhm.
the cool thing is, 4 out of the five we can manage and control because it's lifestyle choices, right?
Right.
So all of those things work together. And can we shift the energy up and out? What my job is to do that so that people can heal completely.
Well, that's a beautiful job. That's a beautiful job. I want to thank Ascending University Butterfly. Such a beautiful butterfly says we are amazing vibrational beings.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. We do not realize how important emotions are and what impact they have. We keep swallowing and forget to clear and heal. I love that. Thank you, Ascending Universal Butterfly. Such a beautiful, beautiful butterfly and such a beautiful comment. So I want to go back to um, when you went through this transition and there was the cancer scare, at
Mhm.
what point did you go from the career that you had to the career that you have now? What was that like?
Oh, goodness. That was a huge shift. I do want to share just for Ascending Universal Butterfly, in particular, when I talk about energy, I'm talking about energy in motion
Mhm.
or emotion. When
Yes.
energy is no longer in motion, that's when it pools in the body, right? And causes the dis-ease or the dysfunction or the dissonance to get our attention. Like, hey,
Mhm.
you got to deal with this. You've been stuffing it too long.
Right.
But my whole crazy transition actually happened March of 2020.
Okay. Right
So
after the pandemic.
that's right, March 12th of 2020 to be exact. It was a Thursday. I was on what I thought was going to be my last corporate turnaround for a different reason.
Mhm.
And I got a phone call and letting me know my services were no longer needed. And I was in complete shock. I texted my boss at the time, the COO, and I said, I just got fired. He says, me too. I'm like, what? So basically, what happened is the CEO took our board deck and walked into the board meeting on the Monday morning and said that we didn't hire enough people when in fact he was the one making us hold the line on expenses through the end of the year. And had we hired enough people, we had shown not only would we have achieved the number, we would have exceeded it. So we fired the
Oh,
two of us, walked in, said that's what needed to happen, and he went on a hiring spree.
oh
Now,
wow.
karma has a way of working things out.
Right.
He was investigated by the board and removed from office. He put a crony in, and then they proceeded to run the company into the ground. And unfortunately, it doesn't exist today.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But what happened to
That is karma.
Kristine?
That is karma.
It's right.
But it was meant
Yeah.
to get you out of that situation. For
Uh
someone
huh.
like myself who's been laid off 8 times, at least
Mm,
8 times, and who's gone through so many different careers and so many different jobs. And I look at my life now, having ran for city council, having ran for senate,
mm,
having created businesses, having launched chambers. I look at my very first layoff and I say I love that job. I would have stayed there forever. I really love being an employee. And I
mm.
always say there's nothing says I love you like direct deposit. Like knowing that you have a sure check,
Yeah.
I would have stayed. And God and life was like, go. So it was your time to fly.
Yes. Yeah. So I call it my divine timeout, is
Yes.
actually what I call it. I really feel the same way because I would have kept doing it. And I think Brandon Bouchard kind of talks about this concept where he says, um, we all live in our zone of excellence for a long time.
Mhm.
And that's because most people, right, see you as that role. You're really good at it. You get paid well for it. You identify with it. I was this
Yes.
badass corporate executive zipping across the country all the time. You get this image of that's what I'm here to do.
Right.
And it's really difficult to leave, right? But it was time for me to do what he calls stepping into your zone of genius.
Mhm.
So during that time, I was very lucky to have some grace in terms of being able to depart because of the nature in which they let me go. I
Mhm.
was given about a 9-month runway, which I find interesting,
Mhm.
given like a nice exit package. So it gave me 9 months to birth the soul intelligence method, which really came to me through meditations, to really listening to divine guidance and understanding that it was time to go in a different direction.
Oh, that is beautiful. Now, Kristine, let's take a question, okay?
Sure.
Air Energy Q to you wants to ask, is it true that some people's energy disrupt the network?
Interesting. Well, I want to know what they're talking about in terms of the network. We're all connected,
Mhm.
right? Whether we realize it, believe it or not, right? We all come from the infinite field, the divine field,
Mhm.
before we, as energy, frequency, consciousness, before we come into a physical form, in human
Mhm.
form. So, oftentimes I tell people, when you go to heal yourself,
Mhm.
you're really healing everyone. And the
Right.
reason that is due to the, something called the butterfly effect, right? If a
Mhm.
butterfly on one side of the world
Yes.
changes its flight pattern unexpectedly, it could cause a tsunami on the other side of the world, which sounds unreal, but that's quantum physics. And that's how energy works because we're all connected, right?
Right.
So, can some people's energy disrupt the network? Some people's energy disrupt your field and you feel it. And you have to send that back to them, like back to sender and receiver immediately, or please take this to the divine. Because once energy is created, it can't be destroyed, right? It
Right.
has to be transmuted into something else.
Right.
So, it's a universal law. That's science, and
Yes.
that's where I really talk a lot about. My method is founded in bioenergetics, which is
Mhm.
it's been documented since about the 1950s by Dr. Alexander Lowen.
Mhm.
And basically, what he wrote about was the fact that when you physically don't feel well, mentally and emotionally, you're probably not doing so hot either because we're
Mhm.
all connected. We're all one being. We have a
Right.
physical body, a mental body, an emotional body, a spiritual body, energetic. We conduct electricity. Most of our body's water. Like
Yes.
people, I don't think people realize that. So yes, somebody can disrupt your day literally with their energy, right? You feel it and you're like, whoa, and it throws you for a loop
Right.
mentally, emotionally, even sometimes physically. But somebody can do that in a good way too,
Right.
right? Like I love like going to live music concerts, right? I love being in that energy and feeling the music and feeling people's energy when they're all up and into what's going on, right? Just like you can walk into that stuffy cocktail party and just go, "Ugh, I don't want to be here." Right? You feel energy. So, I think she has a clarifying question.
I think she has another question. Now, I was reading it, but I don't think you finished answering the first question. So I was just allowing you to finish it.
Oh, sure.
It's, it's, I think a lot of people don't understand what you were saying about our bodies being connected, being mostly water, as
Mm,
well as us being connected. And I love how you explain it because one of the things that I always tell people is for me personally, this is one of the things that I do. I really watch not only my energy, but the energy in the world. So when I go out into the world and I'm noticing, first of all, there are days that are okay, but then there are also days where every light's a green light. That's the day where, you just go to the store and somebody's like, hey, let me give you some coffee. And it's just like miracles and blessings and everything's just happened. I'm like, that's a green go day. Right. And then there are other days and I leave the house and every light is a stoplight and is a red light. And every sound I hear is EMT emergency sirens. And I see 4 different accidents. To me, that's a red stop, go back home, get in the house because the energy of that day. So I'm really careful to kind of watch just the energy in
right.
the air because for me, again, that's a part of us all being connected, because you see multiple accidents. You see that you just lit, and I say that to people. I'm like, don't you feel the energy in the air? And they're like, Sharifah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Um, yeah, I think, I do pay attention. Like, I'm not an astrologer per se,
Hmm.
but I do pay attention to the universal energies and kind of like
Hmm.
what's going on. Um, I like, as a matter of fact, I'm like, all right, we got this Scorpio new moon coming in tomorrow. What is
Right.
going on? What's that going to mean for me? And Scorpio really wants us to like get, know our truth and go deep, right? And have this emotional direction, right? And brings a lot of revelations. So new moons are usually about setting those intentions, but at the same time, Scorpio pushes like hidden feelings to the surface, like
Hmm.
revealing truth kind of beneath reactions to things, highlights old patterns. We're
Hmm.
also in Mercury retrograde, which is all about reviewing, revisiting, like all of
Yes.
that, and delivering clarity through intuition, right? That spreads, um, you know, probably deeper than usual. So I
Hmm.
would say, I do pay attention to universal energies and what's going on in the world, because then sometimes I'll do a group session where I pick a theme.
Hmm.
So I might pick a theme of actually working with hidden feelings, working with the masks that we wear that we need to take off, to kind of make it, align for everyone, because we're all experiencing it, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Right. That's one of the examples I use. You know, when I turned 30, I started feeling it about 29. When I turned 40, I start feeling it around 39. Now I'll be 50 in March, and I'm like 49. So I'm start feeling that change. I'm start feeling that shift. And one of the things that I've noticed that changed about me when I was a younger person, and somebody would say, well, I don't believe that we're all one, or I don't believe that we're connected, or I don't believe you can heal yourself. I'd be like, oh, well, maybe. Now I'm like, look, you can believe or not believe whatever you want to, but it
Right.
is what it is. You cannot believe in gravity, but let's try jumping off the bridge, right? It's like now I'm like, I tell people, I know
Hmm.
these things to be true. So I love to be able to get people to understand that they have more control and more power than they give themselves credit for, but they
Right.
have to really understand these universal laws. And you mentioned that you're not an astrologer, which is funny because my dad is the one in my life who, ever since I was born, is so into astrology, gets all the astrology books. And you can't even have a quote unquote normal conversation with dad, because you call him and you're like, this is how I'm feeling. And he's like, well, have you checked the moon? And where's the, I'm like, Dad, like, I don't want to
I
hear
think I
about
would
the
love to hang
moon.
out and talk to your dad. I think that would be a blast. That'd be a
No,
hoot.
it is. It's really fun. But he was just like, well, everything is, you're an Aries and you're dealing with the Scorpio. It's everything has to do with astrology. But it's so funny that my mom is the one who taught me how to read cards.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have such an interesting life, and we have to get to the reading. This I can talk forever if you haven't figured that out by now, Christine.
I
But
think
I
we
will.
should hang out. It's too bad we're on the opposite ends of the country.
It's okay. We got phones, we got Zooms, we can make it happen. But before I get into that, I have to talk about the book. You
Okay.
mentioned it, but I want to go a little bit into the book. And one of the questions I always ask is, what inspired you to write your book?
I really wanted to get my method out to the world, right?
Okay.
I really feel called to teach other people the method. So the book really explains me, who I am, the method, um, how it came to be, what it does. I have tons of stories of practitioners that I've helped. So, like
Okay.
healthcare providers, doctors, nurses,
Okay.
um, nurse practitioners, healers that have healed themselves, in addition to all their patients, right? So, I have a lot of stories and examples. And what I've been told actually when people read the book, because there are journal prompts at the end of each chapter too, to kind of reflect on some of the concepts in the book.
Okay.
I've heard people tell me that like when they listen to it on Audible, they feel like they're actually getting a session. They're actually getting a healing.
Wow.
So that's pretty powerful, right? But it was really my tool to be able to get out in front of people with this method because I really want people to learn it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be holding in December a 2-day workshop, just like 4 hours each day, where I'm going to teach a mini version of my course for people who are interested. Like my full course, certified course is like 30 charts. And it'll take you a few months to kind of get used to that. But I can teach people how to use maybe 15 of those charts for personal use. And so I want people to be able to use this method. And then if they like it for themselves, then they can, they can learn the extended course. But the workshop's going to be live for 2 days. Whereas the course is actually evergreen, which means people can take it at any point. It's available and it's online. And people can find me, obviously, on Facebook and Instagram and all the things. But my website is soulintelligencemethod.com.
Have to check it out. And your book's available on Amazon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Intelligence Method. I have to pick up a copy of my book, Ascending Universal Butterfly. Says, I love that, Kristine, sharing your message with the world, a real inspiration. Well, that is so beautiful. And what's so interesting, when we were talking earlier about the butterfly and then the butterfly effect, which is, first of all, one of my favorite movies. I'm sure you've seen it with Ashton Kutcher. I love that movie, and I love how he used humor to get you to understand that if you change A, it has no choice but to affect B, and it's this whole domino effect. But it's one of my favorite movies. I love that we have a butterfly as far as someone in here today, but it
all
makes me
about
think,
change. That's what butterflies mean when you see them.
yes, and it's one of the cards that I use. So I don't know if it'll come up in the reading, but that's why I wanted to
I'm
mention it in
excited.
case it doesn't. But the death card, everybody's like, oh my God, will I get the death card? And I say, no, the death card is my butterfly card, right? That's what I consider it, because you have to you cannot be the butterfly without being the caterpillar. You have to be able to transition. And like you said, energy, it doesn't just die, it goes into another form. So for me, the death card is such a beautiful card because it tells me this person is going on a whole new journey and a whole new aspect of your life. So with that said, we're going to start your reading. We're going to begin. And so this entire time we've been talking, I've just been sitting here shuffling the cards.
I thought that's what you were up to.
I'm just shuffling and shuffling and shuffling.
Did he
Now,
jump out while we were on? I was curious.
no, nothing jumped out, but
Okay, good.
that something is going to jump out as far as a message to me. But the reason I shuffle 3 times is for 3 reasons. The power of 3. Number 1, it allows me to connect to your energy. Number 2, it allows me to clear any energy of any previous reading that I've done. But it's also my sign to spirit that I'm going to do a reading, and then I'm asking spirit to show up and show out, right? So just speak to me in clear signs and symbols that I can understand, and just bless this reading for Kristine and for any messages that she needs to receive. One of the things that was so interesting that you said when you were going to the psychic or the healer, we always get what I always consider these vague messages. So I went to a medium one time, and she was like, I have a message for you. And I was like, okay, what's the message? And she was like, it's, you have to love yourself. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, I need you to be a little bit more specific, right? But over time, I get it. Like, I love doing readings now. My mom told me to do them, 20 years ago. And I was like, those people are going to think I'm crazy, right? Now I'm like, I love it. Let me see what I can do. So when I do readings, I do a lot of explaining and a lot of teaching. Like you, I want people to really truly understand. I always explain the cards. I always give people the cards, and I always invite the person I'm reading for to write it down. The main reason is because it's signs and symbols, and a sign that means something to Sharifah may not mean the same thing to Kristine. So I always recommend that people research and search and Google. And one of the cool things that's really great these days when people write it down is take it into to Chat GPT. Say, Chat, I got these cards. This is what Sharifah says, but can you give me any more in-depth meaning? And it just becomes a lot of fun and a lot interesting. So that's why I always give people the cards. So your main theme, more than anything else that I see in your life right now, is the Page of Cups.
Mm.
So for me, the Page of Cups, especially as your issue, is a very beautiful omen. It's a very beautiful sign because the pages in the times of kings and queens, the because they didn't have cell phones, they didn't couldn't make a call, right? And so the king's job, I always ask people, like, what do you think the king's job is? What was his job? And they were like, to rule. And I'm like, yeah, he rules, but he rules from his throne, right? The king never gets up. So he needs someone else to go and deliver messages. And that's what pages do. They deliver the messages of the king. So
Mm.
when you have cups, the cups are always about love. Cups are always about emotion. So this tells me again that there is messages of love, messages of emotions, message again of healing that come through, and that message is going to be delivered. Now, it doesn't mean that some young kid is going to come up and be like, hey, Kristine, I love you. No, it means that it's going to be delivered in certain ways. It can be delivered via phone call, text, email, but there will be a message of love. So if you've been waiting to hear from a loved one, and again, this could be grandma, I don't know, but you're waiting for a message to come through, and that's the sign that you will receive the message, because the challenge of your message is temperance. Now, temperance is a major arcana card, and major arcana cards are major life lessons. These are things that change the course of history. Things that change the course of history are your births, your deaths, your weddings, your funerals. You lost the job. These are things that you started a new job, you started a new career, you launched a book. These are major life lessons. Minor arcana cards are things that affect you during the day,
Mhm.
right? That means that, hey, I was walking and it's raining like crazy in California. Oh my God. And you were walking down the street and a car went by and splashed your new outfit. Yeah, it really might have ruined your day. Maybe you had to go back home and change, but 2 weeks from now, you won't even remember. 2 years from now is not going to change anything. So, temperance is about balance. Temperance is about harmony, right? So, especially in conjunction with the Page of Cups, this is about balancing the love, balancing the emotion. Because for me, temperance is always my alchemist card. It's about that person who knows how to play with energy. And I think, and this might be my Kristine card from now on. I don't know. But if anyone knows how to play with energy and how to move energy, I think you do, and you get that. The
Mhm.
other aspect of being the alchemist, I always look at this as this is my chef card, right? When you can truly call yourself a chef, not somebody who's just making dinner or cooking. This is a chef, right? Because a chef, this is what they do. This is what they know. These may be recipes that have been passed down from generations to generations. And a really great chef does a little sprinkle of this, a little sprinkle of that. And no, we're not looking at that recipe. That recipe now is in our hearts, it's in our souls, it's in our spirits. And this little voice from people, in Italy years ago just whispers, that's enough. Right? You understand what I'm saying? It's that alchemy, that magic, that potion that you create in order to bring life, bring love, bring harmony into the world. Because what it appears to be is the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles for me is my giving card, is my charity card. So in this card, you have a rich person who's handing out money, right? And he's giving money. And this is about giving, right? But then one of the things that we also forget, because you have other people with literally their hands out like, give, I need money. So we always think, in especially in Western American society, that there's the rich and there's the poor, that there's the rich and there's the pauper. But what we don't understand is that it is better to give than to receive, right? Because for whatever you give, you are blessed tenfold, right? So if the rich man has 10 coins and then he gives a coin to 10 different people, each person now has a coin, but he knows that he's going to be blessed tenfold for that 10 coins. So at the end of the day, he's still going to receive more than he's ever given. So again, in conjunction with the alchemist, I see that once you create and once you create your divine meal, your divine package, what you're creating, give, right? This also may be a message that someone will give to you, that whatever you need, whatever resources you need will be given to you. And sometimes when somebody gives to me, again, this is about the angel investor. This is not about, somebody who's like, oh, I just want to make a profit. No, this is somebody who comes in and say, you know what, I really appreciate you. I really love you. I really see what you're doing. I see what you want to build. Let me be able to support you. And we also, again, I think miss the point a lot of times, even with tithing is not always about let me give you cash. There are communities and there are times when people like, I got a chicken. Guess what? Kristine has a goat. And we're going to work together and we're going to come together in order to both. Now we're going to have a chicken dinner tonight and tomorrow we're having goat, whatever it is. But the point is, we are better, we are stronger together because we are all connected. Because your next card is the Hierophant, right? And so the Hierophant, again, I love that. And it's all coming back again. It's all connecting for me with the Temperance, because the Hierophant is spiritual truths.
Mm-hmm.
It's about spiritual truths, right? And it reminds me of that moment, like you said, when you went from that strong masculine energy to your feminine energy. And to me, when I see a woman who has energy, I can literally see energy as far as feminine and masculine. You can see a woman who is operating under her masculine energy
Mm-hmm.
because she's just appears hard,
Mm-hmm.
cold. You're glowing. There's a glow to you. I mean, it's not just your blonde hair, but it's almost like a halo. You know what I mean? It's like there's a glow to you, which
Mm-hmm.
is a softness to you. And so when you were referring to our identity and who we used to be, I can see this in the Hierophant, because the Hierophant, again, being a my major arcana card, major life lesson, is these are the things that we need to learn. And it speaks about finding your truth and what's true to you. And so often, I even talk about this in marriages, right? And people sometimes are surprised when they've been married to somebody for 20, 30 years. And now is like, okay, for 40 years, he's been a lawyer and I've loved this life. And then 40 years later, now he wants to be a tap dancer, you know. And it's like, I didn't marry a tap dancer. I married a lawyer, right? So the Hierophant is a finding your truth, what works for you. And so often our truth may be completely different from the people around us. Because when you think of even our parents may have raised us Catholic. We get to a certain point and we're like, you know what? I want to be a Buddhist. It's not about what other people think. And I see this in your story. And when you were saying, now I want to do soul intelligence method. And there are people who don't want you to do soul intelligence method because they like the old you. It doesn't, I don't like to say things are right or wrong. It's just people don't like change, right? And they get attached to who you are or who you used to be. So this is saying speak your truth, right? Speak what you believe to be true. Speak what you know to be true and speak it loud and speak it proud, because your past energy is the King of Wands. So he's the king, and he's the king of action. He's the king of career. And one of the things that I always say about the kings is that kings have gotten to where they are through the hard work. You had to be a knight in order to become a king, right? Nobody just, I don't care if your father was the king, you still had to go through the lessons of life and the lessons of war and the lessons of change in order to become the king. So that's how you learn how to run the kingdom. So everything that you've gone through in the past has brought you to where you are today. It has brought you to the person that Kristine is today, which is beautiful, because the next card that you have, which is your present energy, is the world, right? And the world major arcana card is always a beautiful, beautiful omen. But the beautiful, it also can be a little scary, because what tarot is about is called the fool's journey,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason it's called the fool's journey is because there's an expression that there are only two people, that God protects fools and infants, right?
Mm-hmm.
God protects fools and infants. And the reason why it's said that God protects fools and infants is because these are the only two people on earth that don't think they know everything.
Right.
They
Innocence.
innocent. They,
Yeah.
it's, you have to be open in order to, for God to lead you. If you know the plan, and I always talk about tarot is just like a GPS, right? I can I can give you a map, but you still have to decide where you want to go, just like your GPS. If we put in your GPS right now, Kristine, how do I get from Florida to California? The GPS is going to tell you, but you have free will to say, you know what? I don't think I want to drive all the way out to California just to see little old Sharifah. And then you change your mind and you stay in Florida, right? It's the same thing. I can outline a path, but we have to accept it and we have to walk it. So the tarot starts with the fool. The fool takes a leap of faith, whereas the world is the conclusion of all the lessons that the fool has learned. But
Mm.
our lives are cyclical. Once you finish this life and this sex cycle, you start over. You begin again. Again, that's what you were saying about the energy is just transformed.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever path, whatever journey that you've been going through, that part is complete. It's time for you to start over. It's time for you to start a new journey, to go into a new direction. And part of that is what I see and what I feel is your speaking increasing. So all
Mm.
of a sudden, you will receive opportunities to speak, opportunities for you, calls out of the blue, calls out of nowhere saying, Kristine, can you come here to teach this message? Can you do this? Can you do that? There are opportunities where, even like when you are booked, they will find ways. Look, I don't care. I just need a Zoom for 30 minutes. But the way you've been, it's up from here. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been receiving calls?
Already?
Yes.
I get a lot of requests
Mm-hmm.
to do podcasts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I'm like I've got a couple of opportunities. I'm on the cover of Soulish magazine that it comes out in Miami this month, and I'm on the cover of Best Holistic Life in January. So I've been on a couple of TV shows recently, which has been pretty exciting, like Living Abundantly with Sarah V, which is super cool, and The
Mm-hmm.
Mix. So I'm getting more of those opportunities. I feel like it's building. I had a book tour in New York City in October,
Mm-hmm.
and we called it the Soul in the City Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a billboard in Times Square, which was pretty fun. And that's when I got to do
That's
a number of the
cool.
interviews. Yeah, right. So to
Mm-hmm.
be able to go back home and to be in that energy. So I feel like it's been building really
Mm-hmm.
since October and will going into 2026.
Yes, it will continue to build, but and those things are wonderful. Those things are nice. Those things are exciting. But this is clearly, and again, what I'm hearing repeatedly is to
Got it.
speak to audience, to make your voice heard, right? So those are the things that you have now, the pictures, the magazines, those are wonderful, but those are the stepping stones that will get you to take you to the next level, because you will speak to audiences, you will speak to people, and people will want you to show up and speak. And it could be a direct result of, oh, I saw you on this magazine, I saw you on this show. But these are not podcasts. This is not speaking on podcasts. These
This
are
is
speaking
stages.
stages
Yeah.
directly to audiences.
That's a lot of what so when I do my inner work, right,
Hmm.
which I do every day,
Hmm.
the meditations, I see myself on stages. So
Yes,
that's interesting that you say that, but that's been very
yes,
consistent with my inner work lately.
yes. So that's confirmation, because that's
Awesome.
what I saw. Because your next card, which is really beautiful, especially based on that conversation, because your next card, which was how you see yourself, is the Four of Wands. And
Mm,
so the Four of Wands for me is celebration. And it's about celebrating the good times, celebrating our wins, celebrating our life now. This is those, Thanksgiving dinners. These are those holidays. These are those weddings. These are times when people come together to celebrate just simply being alive. This is full of friends and good people. So again, that celebration is saying, yeah, life is good. Because the next card that you have is the Strength. And this one, especially for you, I think is beautiful because it talks about, and this is the one card, and thank you, Lord, for giving me this. This is the one card for me that is my feminine energy card. This is my
hmm.
feminine energy card, right? And then now I'll be like, I have to think of Kristine. And the reason, and let me just hold this up again while I talk, is it's the Strength card. And Strength is a major arcana card. But if you look at the picture, she is sitting there with the lion.
Mm,
And the reason why it's feminine energy is because only a beautiful woman can get the lion to lay down. Because the lion is not there because he has to be there. The lion is not there because she made him be there or forced him to be there. And masculine energy, for me, at least the way I see it, masculine energy is about brute force. It's about making something happen, right? Whereas feminine energy is about allowing something to happen. So her energy is what has made the lion decide that he wants to be there. The lion has chosen to be there, right? There's nothing she could have done to make him be there. So when the lion so this is about using your inner strength, using your feminine energy in order to be able to have the world that you want. Okay?
well, it's interesting. So there's a book out there by Dr. David Hawkins called Power versus Force. And so when you were
Hmm.
explaining that card, that's what came to mind for me, right?
Hmm.
Where masculine energy can be about force, like
Hmm.
pushing,
Hmm.
making it, driving,
Hmm.
no matter what, we're going to get it done, right? And
Right.
that's the corporate world for me.
Right.
And then the feminine energy, when you were talking about allowing, is really about that power, that
Hmm.
presence. And
Hmm.
she's able to calm that lion and hold the lion there,
Hmm.
or be gentle because she's grounding perhaps that
Hmm.
lion's energy. So I
Yes.
thought that was really, really kind of a cool explanation of that card.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's strength. So as you move forward and you use your strength, just, because again, the people who love you today, you know, they always move on to something else, right? So use your strength, your inner strength, to be able to maintain in this world, because the heights that you're going, and what I'm being shown is Michael Jackson, right? I'm not saying that you're going to reach that
Wow.
level, but that's what they're showing me. Because the reason they're showing me Michael Jackson is because Michael Jackson, this is just an example, had too many yes people around him.
Mm-hmm.
He had too many people who agreed with whatever he said, and they saw him as a um money maker, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you go into this world that you're going into, I see you on stage with a, like, there's a bubble around you, right? And there's an audience. But first you become something people adore and they love, and then they try to monetize you,
Mm,
right? So it takes inner strength to be able to align your energy with the alliances and the people that are work best for you. Does
mm-hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. I've seen myself on a particular stage
Mhm,
with Dr. Joe Dispenza
mhm,
because he spends a lot of time, talking about the power of meditation. And I've
mhm,
gone to one of his retreats. Actually, this year I did for the first time, and I've seen me clearing the audience before the meditation retreat really starts, so that everybody can actually go deeper.
mhm.
And so wondering if that might be one of those stages, but that's been a consistent, recurring meditation that's come in as an image.
It may be. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love his energy. He's not one of those where, well, basically his energy is good in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so too.
so it may be a stage. There's plenty of multiple stages. There's so many stages that um it would just be a stage. And
Okay.
even if you hit that stage, it may be exciting, but it's just a stage. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And it's like after you go through all of these stages, because you get people get excited, and you want to stay there, right? But
Hmm.
over time, you'll be like, okay, well, it was just a stage. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, there are plenty of stages for you. So again, the message is really to say that stay true to who you are, stay true to what you want, stay true to your, again, hierophant, to what you believe to be true, because people will build you up. People will You're the second coming of Mother Teresa, right? Today. No, I'm just saying this is an example. And then tomorrow it's like, well, why don't you walk on water? Right? So you have to just be strong in order to maneuver through these challenges.
I get it. I understand what you're saying.
No, and I'm just loving the feeling because I've never done a reading like that where I see what I saw. Like again, you standing on stage, but there's a huge invisible bubble around you. And the reason I see that is because I always create an energy field around myself. So I see the energy field around you and I see the audience, right? And so it's beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
well,
The
thank
next
you.
card that I have is the Five of Swords.
Mm,
The Five of Swords for me is about conflict,
of course.
but it's a minor arcana card. Minor disagreements, petty arguments, little things, nothing that's going to change the course of life. Um, yes, just small, minor things that you'll get through, because again, that goes back to me, and that's confirmation for me about not everybody likes the new you. Not everybody likes the fact that you're traveling around the world. And it doesn't mean that I don't look at people, first of all, I know for a fact there's nobody on earth or nobody who's ever been on earth that's 100% good and 100% bad, right?
Right.
So
Agree.
so it doesn't make these people bad. It just means that people don't like change. Again,
Hmm.
so to me, that's the second confirmation that not everybody likes change. Not everybody likes you to change. You were a lawyer, not you, but you know what I'm saying? They're looking at it like, now you want to be a tap dancer. I don't want to be married to a tap dancer. I want you to be the old you. I want you to go back to this person because this is the person
Well,
that I know.
I know exactly what that's about, and I know exactly who that's about.
I knew you would. I knew you would. Right. But we started with the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is always about love coming in and the message of love.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, your first card is your issue. That's the main theme that's coming through your life. But then I always do 10 cards. And the 10th card that I have for you is the final outcome. At the end of the day, sum it all up, Sharifah. What is this saying? And this is the Three of Wands. Excuse me. I'm sorry, the Two of Wands. Kind of hoping to see my glasses. That's why I got to read with my glasses. Kind of was hoping it was the Three of Wands, but not that the Two of Wands is a bad thing. But for me, there's only one card in the deck. Well, not only one card. Let me take that back. But for me, the Two of Wands is the one card or the main card in the deck that requires you to take an action. Whereas the Eight of Wands, which we didn't receive, the Eight of Wands is my lazy person card, which I tend to be, even though my mom is like, stop using that word. Nah, I like that word. But the Eight of Wands is about opportunities coming to you. It's about you like laying out and the phone just rings,
That
right?
sounds good. I like that.
Right. The Two of
Where's
Wands
that
is
one?
the Two of Wands. Again, when you look at the minor arcana cards, and
Mhm.
again, in this reading, out of 10 cards, you only receive 3 minor arcana cards. And the Five of Swords, which was a minor arcana card, is one of the cards that you received. So again, is not going to change the course of history. But when I read, I not only know, first of all, I always tell people, notice what you notice, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I noticed is that you received a lot of major arcana cards, which for some people, they're like, oh my God, that's not a good thing. Why? Because that tells me that your life is shifting right now, that you're going through major lessons and major shifts. A lot of minor arcana cards basically means your life is what it is not really going to change too much. Your life is going through a major shift. Again, I saw that with the stage. But when you have minor arcana cards, you think of minor arcana cards of a scale of 0 to 10. And it's just like that customer service survey where it says, oh, if you love our service on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, 1 being you suck, what do you rate us? So the 2, you still have a long way to go in order to get to the 10. The 5, again with the Five of Swords, fives are always halfway marks. That's the point where we're halfway to the end of that journey. And that's why you get tired and frustrated. You got a lot of conflict because again, you're like, hurry up already. Can we get to the promised land? That's why the people of Israel, they were in the promised land for 40 years. And they're like, wait a minute, I could have got out of the promised land. I mean, I could have got to they were looking for the promised land for 40 years, right? So
Mhm.
the Two of Wands is that step, and the Two of Wands literally for me is a leap of, it's not a leap of faith, more like the fool, but stepping out on faith. It's about taking initiative. It's about going out there and making it happen. It's not about everything coming to you. It's about you going to it, right? So again, I see that in conjunction with the Six of Coins and the Six of Pentacles is that if you take the first step, God will take the next step. But you have to take some step because again, this comes back to free will. Everything that you saw on that stage, you saw it, I saw it, we are in agreement. But you could choose to sit on the couch. That is also, see, readings are not about what's absolute. It's
Mhm.
about on your current path, what is probable if you stay on this path.
Right.
So if you step out there and you say yes to the speaking engagements, you say yes to the opportunities, you say yes to the phone calls, you say yes to the messages that you feel align with your message and your spirit and your soul, then you will receive everything that you see. However, this is just the beginning. So we saw that with the world, with that ending. So now you need a new journey. That's why you're at the Two of Wands. With your career, Wands being career, the 2 is the beginning. This is just the beginning. You haven't, in the Five of Wands for me is when there's a lot of challenges, people doing the same thing. In the Seven of Wands for me, that's the David and Goliath card. That's when he literally goes up against the world in order to make it. So you have so many different challenges between the 2 and the 10.
Mhm.
But they gave you the answer. Call on your inner strength, your feminine energy. Call on what you know to be true. But in the meantime, celebrate good times, have fun, stay with your spiritual truths, and you will get everything in this life that you see. Got any
Wow.
questions for me?
No, that was so fun. I loved it. I really did. This was really, I wasn't sure, what to expect. And, I've worked with other readers in the past, and I really love the way that you pulled this all together. That was really, really cool.
Thank you. Um, so often I'll tell you this right now, and I usually don't even say this, especially live, but usually there's so much that I see, and then what I have to do is filter what I see and then understand that we're live, right? So there are
Sure.
certain things that I'll see and I'm like, okay, we'll talk about that offline or after the show. Your reading was 100% unfiltered because
Wow.
I know that what we saw and what we received is not only going to help you, it's going to help other people,
Yeah.
because it was really just saying, I mean, to simplify it is, I see you on stage. I saw you on stage. And so there was nothing that couldn't be revealed, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
That's amazing. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much. This was such a fun time. I really appreciate it. And like I said, great way to celebrate great grandma Vita's birthday.
Yes. Yeah, Grandma Vito is going to be with you on stage and cheering for you in the audience and just helping you along, because that's what our ancestors do. They're there to
Mm.
help us through this life. Now, Kristine, we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
All right. Well, I would say a parting word for me would be remember that self care isn't selfish, it is sacred. And so, whatever your journey brings you on, I would encourage you to continue to look to heal yourself. Right, because we can always get better. I, as a healer myself, go to other healers, like we just saw, and I did it loud and proud and out and about with everybody here. But I also work with different practitioners for different reasons, right? And we share our medicine and our gifts with the world. So, one of the ways in which I share my gift with others and what I'm called to do is to teach other people this method, right? If you're interested in learning about my healing method, I encourage you to go to soulintelligencemethod.com. That is my website. And that has pretty much everything you want to know about the method, about me, about my course. And I mentioned I'm going to be doing a workshop where you'll get to learn how to do my method in just a couple of days in December. So, a real great present to yourself for the holidays. But if you want to get to know me a little bit better, you can probably see right over my shoulder here is my book, Healing Through Soul Intelligence, which can be found on Amazon in all formats: Kindle, Audible, physical form, whatever you like.
Thank you, Kristine. That was so beautiful. I want to thank you for being today's guest on Read Me Live. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. We definitely appreciate your support. And I think today's show was a powerful, powerful message. Please go ahead and share this show with your friends, because you never know, it may be the message that they need to hear today, especially when you talk about energy and you talk about healing. Maybe there's somebody who needs to heal thyself. So if you're interested in having your own reading or being a guest on the show, you can visit my website at readmelive.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and